Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, got a couple of quick stories for you, some points I want to make about them, and maybe a couple of questions at the end. I'm not sure exactly what to call them. Uh, so, here we go. This is a day in the life of Howard Dare. So, the state has called me to their offices because they want money from me, right? Now, if you know my past, you understand that the state unjustly, falsely, pretty much destroyed my ability to, take care of things, support myself, have money. This is part of the story. So, it's kind of ironic, right? You mess somebody up so that they don't have any money, and then you come to them and you say, hey, I want money. So what I've got to do is I've got to take this bus trip, okay, to the government offices, and it's going to cost me $8. But I've only got $3. I've only got $3, right? But don't worry, because I've got a hustle in mind. Because men like me, we have to hustle. Once you're reduced down to the bottom of society's level, you've got to hustle. You've got to always be hustling. So I've got $3, and I've got to make it, to the state, offices to explain to them why I can't give them money. So I'm getting them. So my first hustle is the fact that I'm getting on in years, right? So I'm kind of looking like a senior. I'm not quite there yet, but I might be able to pull it off. And if I can convince the driver that I'm a senior, I can get the bus ride for a single dollar as opposed to $2, right? So this is my first hustle. So I'm waiting for the bus. Okay, the bus comes, right? I'm stepping up there and I'm greeting the driver, and I've got my dollar bill out, and I'm placing my dollar bill into the slot that takes the dollar bill, but I'm not putting it into the slot yet. Okay, I'm just placing it on the slot. And he says, that'll be $2, or, like the little $2 thing rings up there on the little digital display. And I say, oh, I'm a senior. And he looks at me and he says, are you? Looks at me sideways. I kind of like try to show him, my bad side, right? It's like, oh yeah. And then he says, yeah, okay. And what I do is I don't put my single senior dollar fare into the bill slide. I take it out, right? I say, okay, thank you. And I zoom, out of, to the back of the bus. Because, I've just basically pulled it off, right? And again, he asks, are you a senior? And by this time, I'm swinging on the bars, okay, on the bus. I'm moving like, I'm moving almost like an Olympic athlete. And I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I call back and I sit down. Now, I'm a little upset that he had to ask, that he asked me twice, right? But I'm really glad that I got away with that without, spending a single dollar, right? I might make it, I'm doing the calculations. So I just go onto my phone like I'm not paying attention to anything. Now, here's the thing. A man like me, I never just go to my phone. I never come into a public place and sit down and look down at my phone. I assess my situation. I assess my environment. But in this case, I want to just be like everybody else, okay? So I get to my place. Now, I'm getting off of the bus. I didn't appreciate being asked the question, are you a senior, twice? So, what they say, one good question deserves another, right? So he's stopping to pick up the people. I'm getting off of the bus, but now I'm coming up to the front of the bus and I'm asking him some sort of pointless questions. It's like, if I go in this direction and I go in that direction, where do I go? And meanwhile, he's got people coming onto the bus, right? But he can't pay attention to both of us. So I'm pretty much just waving these people by, just letting them get on the bus. If they're smart enough to pick up what's going on, boom, it happens. So as I said, one good question deserves another. So moving on, I've got $3 and I've got $6 worth of, travel to go. So my next one, it's a woman, it's a middle-aged woman, right? She's out of shape, but no problem. I get on there, I'm a senior, I put the dollar in and I just go sit down. I'm not trying much with her. I get to my destination, to the government offices. Now I'll come back because that's the second part of the story. Okay, we're going to complete the bus ride story. No, let's go straight into the government building story. So it's this giant government building in the middle of nowhere, for kind of like the suburbs of the main city area. But this building is virtually brand new, and it's like a $10 million building. And it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. There's other like industrial shipping, large warehouses around it. But it's off of the residential area by, maybe a mile or so. Now, one of the things I notice as I'm coming up to it is that there's very few cars in the parking lot in the area. It's set up to hold 150 cars, and there's not 15 in the area. And I'm seeing some of the people who are obviously being called, to courts and things like that, in the parking lot. So I'm like, where are the employees parked? Right? And I'm looking around, like I want to see where they're parked. Are they parked behind, on the side? What's going on? But no, that's it. So I go into the place, and typical state building. The men have to take off their belts, right, to go through the metal detectors. It's just the way it is. So it's bullshit, but that's the way it is. So I'm walking through the place, and it's largely empty. There's a few citizens at the various little stations, but the lights are low. There might be one person back there in this whole office area, and they're sitting near this front desk, but there's no people back there working or anything like that. I take care of my business. I explain to them, that I have no money, that I would gladly give them money, but, I don't even have bus fare. So I'm playing it. I'm working it. Now, the point is, concerning the building, so I'm actually getting to the second story first, is that this is government corruption. This is waste. Okay, the people that were working there, these weren't, your top of the line college graduates. That's not who was working there. This was one stage above Sharia law. Okay, this was one stage above walking in there and everybody in there being in a hijab, or something like that. This wasn't a bustling government office. It wasn't anything like that. It was like somebody got it in their head that the right thing to do was to hire a bunch of young, out-of-shape girls for their offices, that's, the face of our government. Thing is that the building probably cost like $5 or $10 million. I suppose an intelligent contractor, I'm not a contractor, so I don't really know. But I suppose like if a very capable contractor, was overseeing it, that they could probably do it for $1 million. But it probably cost tens of millions of dollars. And there's not 15 cars in the parking lot. This is in the middle of the day. This is a government office. Okay. I'm a citizen who's paid in to this government. I'm a citizen who was raised under the values of this government my whole life. My people have gone to war, right? And I understand, okay, these are the values, and I don't have bus fare to go down to explain to them in their $10 million building that I don't have the money to give to them because they've taken all the money that I already have and that I could ever earn, right? There's a great irony within this whole system. So I get out of there, and I'm on my way back for the bus, right? Now I've got $2 left, and I've got $4 worth of transportation that I need to complete, okay? But if I can pull off my senior scam, I've got $2 for $2 worth of, transportation. So I'm on my third bus, and there's no way, but I am pulling off my senior scam. So I get away with just doing $1, right? So not too much I can do. Now I'm at my last stop. I've got $1 in change. I don't even have $1, right? I've just got like 4 quarters. And I don't even know if the bus is going to accept the change. So I know that, I've got to be at my best for this particular hustle. So as the bus is pulling up, I go into my kind of like crippled old man kind of stance, hunched over shoulders, kind of like looking down at the ground, kind of like maybe some rhythmic swaying back and forth, like I'm cold, maybe a little bit. And as the bus is pulling up, okay, I'm reaching into my pocket to take out my change, right? And now I'm intentionally turning my back to the front of the bus as if like I don't know where I am, or as if I don't know what to pay attention to. So I know that the driver is looking at me and seeing this and thinking to himself, okay, crippled old man, right? And holy shit, this guy's got a bus coming towards him and he's looking in the other direction, right? I don't want to have to deal with this person, the driver is thinking to themselves. This is exactly what I want them to think, okay? So, but the door opens up and you think I'm going to go for the full, oh, I can't even walk up the stairs kind of thing. No. Now what I'm doing is I'm totally cool. I'm just perfectly like, hey, man, I am so glad to be on this bus. I'm not saying anything, right? But it's just like, yeah, this is the most awesome bus in the world, right? And I'm walking up the stairs. I've got change in my hand, okay? I'm not talking quite yet, but I'm putting on, a very cool, friendly, chill expression. Now, I'm standing up there. He's sitting down. I give him a chin up. Okay, this is me lifting my head up to him, kind of like, hey, not even saying anything, kind of like I'm greeting an old friend and, I've just come into their place and everything's cool. So chin up. I've got my change in the hand. Okay. At this point, before he's responded to any of this, I kind of start to mumble a little bit, right? What he does next is, in response to my chin up, okay, he gives me a chin up or even a chin down, like, okay, how you doing, right? Understand, when he does his head gesture, I'm already mumbling a little something. It's unclear. He finishes his head gesture, and I take that to mean complete approval of just like, get on the bus, you're cool. So I just say, oh, thank you, man, or thank you, bro, and boom, I just walk into the back of the bus. Right. So there it is. Okay. The $8 trip. And it only cost me $3. No, $2. Yeah. $2. Yeah. Because I got away on the first one with nothing. I had to pay for the second. I had to pay for the third. And then I got away on the fourth with nothing. So understand that little hustle there. Okay. Is that here's a busy person who wants my money. And I'm pretending to be like, oh, this is not going to be so easy. Not because I don't want to give it to you, but simply because, I'm not too smart and I'm old and things like that. And then I'm coming in with some very basic social interaction. Hey, how you doing? And I was like, good. How you doing? But because of the earlier confusion that I introduced into the whole situation, and because the minute that they start to respond, I'm introducing a little bit more confusion. I'm then able to take their greeting, their basic social greeting, as the acceptance of what it is I'm troubled and working on. So there it is. That's a little overview of a particular hustle, right? A particular type of con, how to work it. Unfortunately, men like me, you have to know, because our society wants us down here at the bottom, and they want to build giant government offices to employ fat, stupid, uneducated girls, so that, that's how everything is right with the world for them. This is how they feel good about themselves and about the situation around them. Unfortunately, as we're witnessing, it destroys the world, right? Like you've just wasted, $20 million and it's costing you, $150,000 every month. And there's nothing being profited or generated except for some very guilty, very shamed people feel a little bit better about themselves while the whole system crashes, while the whole state burns down, while the planes fall out of the sky, while your budgets go down the tubes, and while your good, hardworking people have to hustle their way onto buses. So you see, I had a point, right? I wasn't just going on like that. So those are the two stories. Now, the question is, because I know this guy, and what he does is every little thing that goes wrong for him that doesn't go his way, he pretends it's like this larger societal problem, right? But it's not. It's his fault. It's his responsibility. So I don't want to do that. Unfortunately, what this guy does, it's much worse. It's not just doing that. Like doing that, what the hell? It's not that big of a deal. No, this guy actually believes it. He's actually, so it's very sad. It's very tragic. It's like a man struggling for validation from a system that isn't even looking at him, that doesn't even care, kind of like Cain arguing with God, before, he commits, that horrible act. Like, no, you're doing the wrong shit. That's why it's not working for you. And you can understand the rage and the frustration that a person would feel, doing all of these sacrifices and not making any progress. Like this guy I know that I'm talking about, he thinks he can speak, publicly, kind of like me. So it's kind of scary too. When I see this in other people, it's like, shit, am I like that as well? So he thinks he can speak publicly, but he can't. And he's just reading from textbooks. He's just like doing what he thinks the higher ups want him to do, but they don't really care either. And the textbooks are written by people who make money out of continually creating and, this problem and projecting this worldview that we are dominated by, our psychological feelings and bullshit like that, which, to a degree, yeah, sure, but completely, no, let's not be, stupid and retarded about all of this. But if your bosses want you to be stupid and retarded about all of this and just repeat what some failed academic has written down so that they can get a paycheck, so that they can continue to validate and justify their existence. So now this horrible stuff just gets repeated, beaten into people hour after hour. This is why when foreign governments are looking for spies, they don't look for the people who are down and out on the bottom. Those people are usually very patriotic. They look for the people who are highly accomplished and who have submitted themselves to the system and then gotten the accolades of the system, with the idea that ideologically they resent the hell out of it and they're very angry, and they usually are. This is a byproduct of our German Bismarck educational system, this regimented system designed to make industrial workers and soldiers, not happy, strong individuals. That's right. The world around you, the institutions around you, they weren't trying to build you up to be strong and independent and healthy and happy and productive and have a meaningful life. They were trying to build you up to follow orders, to learn what to do, to not ask questions, to submit, and thereby to get by with the group in the system. Unfortunately, that world where that would work has moved on. Now, there's no such thing as a company man. You must realize that idea, it became old-fashioned and antiquated in like the 80s. Okay, so the person running the company doesn't care about the company. They just want to exploit the company and get the stock prices up and sell and things like that. And even the people who are building the companies now, a lot of them, not all of them, no, they just want to build. It's a con job. They just want to build it up and then have somebody else buy it. They don't want to actually do the actual work of building it up. It's a startup. So the mindset is, just one of complete exploitation of essentially female hypergamy, which for short-term profit kind of makes sense. But for long-term business and for an economy and for people's well-being and things like that, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense and it doesn't work. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to leave it at that for now. But you see that it wasn't just a couple stories about, what I did. It's how it relates to this bigger picture. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate. Find my Cash App donation link in the description and in the comments below. Click on it and do what you can for the Howard Dare channel so that I can have bus fare. And join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.